Chosen one, listen carefully. The greatest battles surrounding your life are not happening where your eyes can see them. Not in the conversations you replay in your mind, not in the conflicts you think are the problem, not even in the struggles you believe you understand. The real warfare is deeper than that. It is invisible. There is a fight happening around your focus, around your peace, around your spirit, an unseen pressure trying to confuse you, distract you, drain you. Have you ever felt that moments where nothing looks wrong, yet something feels heavy? Situations that appear normal, yet your spirit feels alert. That is not your imagination. Because while unseen forces attempt to weaken your spirit, there is something else surrounding you. Protection, shields you cannot see, barriers the world cannot measure, defenses placed around your soul long before you understood your purpose. But understand this truth. Most people will live their entire lives and never recognize these shields. They will call them coincidence. They will call them personality. They will call them overthinking. But you know better, because if you are here, something inside you already senses it. You have felt protected in strange ways, redirected at unusual moments, warned by instincts you could never explain. You thought it was sensitivity. It was protection. Chosen one, the world you live in today is louder than ever, faster than ever, more spiritually chaotic than ever. Distraction is constant. Manipulation is subtle. Energy is drained through comparison noise and emotional traps. This is modern spiritual warfare. And those who carry a divine assignment are never placed on the battlefield without defense. Never. There are invisible shields guarding your soul, not just protecting you, but guiding you, positioning you, preventing certain attacks before they ever reach you. Tonight you will uncover 9 invisible shields that stand between your spirit and the darkness trying to weaken it. And the last one. The last one may finally explain why your life has never followed the normal path others expected. Why doors close suddenly. Why people reveal themselves around you. Why you sense danger before it appears. This is not random, it is design. First, the shield of unexplainable discernment. You have felt this your entire life. That quiet signal inside you. That sudden inner pause. That strange awareness when something is not right. Even when everyone else feels comfortable. Have you noticed that you walk into a room and immediately sense the atmosphere? You meet someone new and your spirit begins observing before they finish their first sentence. Others see charm. You sense something deeper. Others trust quickly. You hesitate. And sometimes people misunderstand this about you. They say you are guarded. They say you think too much. They say you are suspicious. But they are wrong. You are discerning. And discernment is one of the first shields placed around chosen souls. Because the enemy rarely attacks openly. The enemy disguises traps as opportunities, toxic people as allies, manipulation as kindness. But your spirit feels what your eyes cannot see. You sense spiritual misalignment before logic catches up. You feel energy shifts before words reveal intention. That is not paranoia, that is protection. Think about the moments you ignored that inner warning. Remember what happened. Situations that looked promising, but later exposed hidden motives. People who appeared trustworthy until their mask slipped, and suddenly you realized something powerful. Your spirit knew. It knew long before your mind accepted the truth. This is the shield. It slows you down when others rush in. It makes you observe when others assume. It whispers caution when everyone else is celebrating. Because chosen ones are not meant to walk blindly into spiritual traps. Your discernment protects your destiny. And the more you learn to trust that quiet inner signal, the stronger the shield becomes. But this is only the beginning, because another invisible protection has been shaping your life in ways you may not even realize. Second, the shield of strategic isolation. This one hurts, because it does not always feel like protection when it begins. It feels like loss. It feels like distance. It feels like people going silent for no reason. It feels like circles shrinking. It feels like being left behind while everyone else seems surrounded. Have you lived through that friendships that once felt natural suddenly become forced? Conversations lose depth. Places that once felt familiar begin to feel heavy. And people you thought would walk with you into the next season begin fading from your life without warning. No betrayal you can clearly name. No dramatic ending, just separation. And that kind of separation can wound you deeply if you do not understand what is happening. Listen carefully. Not every disconnection is rejection. Some disconnections are rescue. Some departures are ordained. Some relationships are removed because they cannot cross the threshold of your next assignment. You call it loneliness. Heaven calls it containment. Because when favor is increasing on your life, your environment must change. When your anointing is growing, your circle cannot remain casual. When your destiny is accelerating, everyone cannot come with you. Not everyone will understand this. The world teaches you to fear isolation. But the chosen learn that isolation is often where clarity is born. In noise, you hear people. In isolation, you hear God. In crowds, your identity gets blurred. In separation, your spirit becomes sharp again. That is why this shield is so misunderstood. You thought you were being abandoned. You were being repositioned. You thought people were leaving because something was wrong with you. No, they were leaving because something was changing in you. There are people assigned to your comfort, and there are people assigned to your calling. The dangerous part is when you confuse the two. Some people can celebrate your old self but cannot survive your transformation. Some can laugh with you in the lower season but cannot stand beside you in the higher one. Some love your wounds but resist your healing. Some enjoy your company but fear your power. So they drift. And the enemy wants you to misread that moment. The enemy wants you to beg for access that heaven is removing. The enemy wants you to chase people who were only meant for a chapter. The enemy wants you to call spiritual pruning a personal failure. Do not do that. Stand still. Let the circle shrink. Let the false connections fall away. Because a smaller circle in a sacred season is not punishment, it is protection. Think about the people you outgrew without even trying. Think about the spaces that no longer fit your spirit. Think about the relationships that ended quietly, then later revealed why they could not remain. If they had stayed, they would have delayed you. If they had stayed, they would have diluted you. If they had stayed, they would have distracted you from the very transformation heaven was trying to complete in you. This is why chosen ones often walk through lonely seasons before powerful ones. Isolation is not always the absence of favor. Sometimes it is the proof of it. You are being separated because you are being prepared. And when you finally stop grieving every door that closes, you begin to see the shield for what it is: mercy, protection, divine strategy. And once you understand that, another hidden defense begins to reveal itself in your life. Third, the shield of emotional resilience. This one is deeper than most people understand. Because people saw you cry, they saw you break down, they saw you go silent, they saw the weight hit you, but they did not understand what was really happening. They thought the pain would end you. It did not. Have you noticed this pattern in your life? You get hit hard, harder than others. Betrayal, rejection, disappointment, loss, spiritual exhaustion, moments that should have crushed your will and closed your heart forever. And for a moment, it does shake you. It shakes your emotions, it shakes your confidence, it shakes your peace, but it never fully destroys you. Why? Because there is something on your life that refuses to let you stay broken. Listen carefully. Your recovery is not normal. The world calls it coping. Heaven calls it resilience. And not ordinary resilience, spiritual resilience. A hidden shield, a holy strength built into your soul. You feel pain deeply. Do not deny that. You are not cold. You are not numb. You are not untouched. You bleed, you grieve, you feel the impact. But you do not remain on the ground. That is the difference. Chosen ones do not escape emotional warfare. They survive it differently. They bend, but they do not break. They mourn, but they do not disappear. They get wounded, but they do not lose their assignment. Not everyone will understand this. Some people thought your last heartbreak would silence you. Some thought that betrayal would harden you permanently. Some thought that season of depression, confusion, or emotional exhaustion would disconnect you from your destiny. But they underestimated what was guarding your soul. The enemy studies your pain and expects collapse. Then heaven releases strength and you rise again. Have you ever shocked yourself with how quickly you found your footing again? Not because the pain was small. It was not small. It was real. It cut deep. But after the shaking came something strange. Clarity, wisdom, sobriety, peace. You started seeing differently, praying differently, guarding your heart differently. You became less naive, less easy to manipulate, less willing to settle for counterfeit love and false loyalty. Do you see it? What was sent to weaken you ended up revealing you. That is the shield. Your soul recalibrates, faster than most, deeper than most, stronger than most. You return from emotional battles with new sight, new boundaries, new fire. That is why darkness hates to attack you and yet keeps trying. Because every battle leaves you stronger. Every wound teaches you. Every survival confirms you. You stop fearing pain when you realize pain has never had the final word over your life. Remember this. Your tears were never proof of weakness. They were proof you were human. But your recovery, that is proof you are guarded. There is an invisible strength holding your inner world together when everything around you is trying to pull it apart. And the more you honor that strength, the more dangerous you become to every force that expected your collapse. Because now you know, you are not fragile, you are fortified. And once you recognize that shield, you begin to notice another one working around you in places, rooms, and atmospheres that others cannot even read. Fourth, the shield of energetic sensitivity. You noticed it, you tried to ignore it, but it kept happening. You walk into certain places and your whole inner world shifts. Your body tightens, your thoughts feel crowded, your peace starts pulling back. And nothing on the surface explains it. People are smiling, the room looks normal, the conversation sounds harmless, yet something inside you says no. Have you ever felt exhausted around people who never even touched you? Have you ever left a room more drained than when you entered it? Have you ever wondered why certain environments wear your spirit down so quickly while others make you feel alive again? Listen carefully. This is not weakness. This is not you being too sensitive. This is one of the invisible shields guarding your soul. Energetic sensitivity, a warning system, a spiritual alarm. Your spirit reads atmospheres before your mind can name them. Your body reacts before facts appear. Your inner world feels the disturbance before the outer world admits it is there. That is why your path feels different from the world's path. The world trains people to ignore what they feel, to stay in toxic spaces, to laugh through corruption, to normalize heaviness, to keep performing even when the atmosphere is poison. But you cannot do that, not for long, because what others tolerate begins to choke your spirit. What others call normal, your soul calls dangerous. And that difference matters. You are not built to blend into polluted atmospheres. You are not designed to sit comfortably in confusion, gossip, hidden envy, false peace, and spiritual tension. The chosen feel what the room is hiding. Not everyone will understand this. They will tell you to relax. They will tell you that you are reading too much into things. They will tell you to stop taking everything so deeply. But they do not know what you carry. They do not know that your sensitivity is part of your protection. Because darkness rarely announces itself loudly. It leaks into atmospheres. It hides behind polished words. It dresses itself in charm. It smiles across tables. It sits quietly in rooms full of applause. But your spirit feels the disturbance, that sudden heaviness, that mental fog, that urge to leave, that unexplained pressure in your chest, that exhaustion that makes no sense until later when truth finally surfaces. Then you realize something. You were not overreacting. You were detecting. Think about how many times this has happened. You felt unsettled around a person everyone admired. Later, their manipulation was exposed. You entered a space that looked peaceful. Later, the conflict underneath it came to light. You sat in an opportunity that looked perfect on paper, yet your spirit refused to settle, and later you saw the hidden cost. Do not overlook this. Your soul has been protecting you the whole time. The enemy wants you to doubt your sensitivity. Because if you stop trusting what you feel, you will stay where you should leave. You will connect where you should separate. You will remain open where heaven is telling you to guard yourself. But now you know better. Your sensitivity is not a burden. It is intelligence from the Spirit. It is a shield around your destiny. And the more you honor it, the clearer the contrast becomes between where you are assigned and where you are not. Because some doors do not close with noise. They close with discomfort. And once you understand that, you begin to recognize another shield that has been protecting you through delayed disruption and plans that never worked the way you expected. Fifth, the shield of disrupted plans. This is where many chosen ones lose heart, because you made the plan, you prayed over it, you prepared for it, you moved toward it with sincerity, and then it collapsed. Suddenly, violently, without warning. Have you ever lived through that kind of interruption? A door opens, then shuts. A move gets delayed. A partnership falls apart. A job disappears. A connection you thought was the answer dissolves in your hands. And in that moment, it feels personal. It feels like failure. It feels like punishment. It feels like heaven went silent right when you were ready to move. But listen carefully. Not every disruption is an attack. Some disruptions are shields. Some closed doors are mercy. Some delays are protection. Some collapses are rescue in disguise. This is one of the hardest truths for a chosen one to accept. Because your heart was already attached to the outcome. Your mind had already built the future. Your emotions had already stepped into the next chapter. So when it breaks, you grieve what you thought was meant for you. But what if that interruption was the very thing that saved you? What if the opportunity that vanished was never your assignment? What if the path that fell apart was carrying hidden poison? What if what looked like favor on the surface was warfare underneath? Do not ignore this. The enemy does not only attack through obvious darkness. Sometimes darkness hides inside appealing doors, inside rushed opportunities, inside relationships that sparkle at first and suffocate later, inside success that would have cost you your peace, your clarity, and your calling. That is why chosen ones so often experience divine interruption, because your destiny is too costly to be handed over to appearances. You call it a setback. Heaven calls it redirection. You call it bad timing. Heaven calls it precise protection. You call it another disappointment. Heaven calls it a shield around your soul. Think about the plans that failed in your life. At the time, they crushed you. They embarrassed you. They confused you. You asked why. You asked what you did wrong. You asked why things keep falling apart right when they seem ready to happen. But later, truth surfaced. That person had deeper issues than you knew. That environment was more toxic than it appeared. That opportunity carried a hidden burden. That next step would have pulled you out of alignment. Then you saw it. What looked like rejection was actually interception. Only the chosen recognize this after the pain has passed. Your life patterns are not random. The repeated delays, the sudden reroutes, the plans that died before they could fully begin. These were not empty frustrations. They were training. They were teaching you not to worship open doors. They were teaching you to value alignment over appearance. They were teaching you that favor is not found in what opens fastest, but in what carries peace, truth, in divine timing. Remember this. A broken plan does not mean a broken destiny. It means something greater is guarding your path. And once you stop mourning every interruption, you begin to see how often you are being saved from what you begged to keep. That realization changes everything, because now you stop asking only, why did this close? Now you ask, what was this closure protecting me from? And when that question awakens in you, another shield begins to reveal itself, one that keeps you moving, stretching, and refusing to settle when the world tells you to stay small. Sixth, the shield of inner restlessness. This one has followed you for years, even in calm seasons, even in stable places, even when everything looked fine on the outside. Something in you kept stirring. Something in you kept resisting the comfortable version of life that satisfied everyone else. Have you ever wondered why peace and comfort are not the same for you? Why you can be grateful and still feel unsettled? Why you can achieve something and still hear a deeper call? Why you can sit in a safe routine and yet feel your spirit pressing against it from within? Listen carefully. That restlessness is not disorder. It is not ingratitude. It is not immaturity. It is not failure to be content. It is a shield, a holy disruption inside you, a divine refusal to let you settle beneath your assignment. The world worships comfort. The chosen cannot live by comfort. The world calls stability success. The chosen know that stagnation can wear the mask of safety. That is why your spirit keeps moving when others stop. That is why you outgrow rooms that still applaud you. That is why you feel the pressure to learn, stretch, heal, build, pray, and rise even when no one around you sees the need. Only the chosen recognize this, because not everyone is being prepared for weightier purpose. Not everyone is carrying an anointing that must keep expanding. Not everyone has a destiny that requires constant sharpening, but you do. And heaven knows something dangerous happens when chosen ones get too comfortable. Their discernment dulls, their fire cools, their hunger fades, their vision shrinks, so the shield activates. You feel the nudge again, the holy dissatisfaction, the sense that there is more healing, more discipline, more truth, more growth, more alignment. Not because what you have means nothing, but because what is in you is greater. Think about the seasons when you tried to stay where you had already outgrown. You felt it immediately. Your energy dropped, your creativity narrowed, your spirit felt caged. What once fit you started suffocating you. Why? Because your soul knew before your mind admitted it. You were lingering in a place that could maintain you, but could not mature you. And chosen ones are not sent here just to be maintained. You are being prepared for pressure, prepared for influence, prepared for warfare at higher levels, prepared for rooms where your presence will carry weight, prepared for assignments that demand more than desire. They demand capacity. That is why this inner restlessness is mercy. It keeps you from building a home inside a temporary season. It keeps you from making peace with limitation. It keeps you from calling smallness wisdom when heaven is calling you upward. Do not ignore it. When your spirit says, move, listen. When your spirit says, grow, obey. When your spirit says, this place is no longer enough, believe it. Because this is not random pressure. It is preparation with urgency. Darkness wants you comfortable. Darkness wants you asleep. Darkness wants you numbed by routine and dulled by repetition. But the shield of inner restlessness keeps waking you up, again and again, season after season, until you stop fearing the stretch and start honoring it. And once you do, you begin to notice another shield, one that has been protecting you through silence, observation, and the ability to see what others miss before they ever understand what is happening. Seventh, the shield of hidden observation. You have been doing this longer than you realize, watching, listening, noticing. While others rush to speak, you pause. While others react instantly, you study. While others get swept away by emotion, charm, or appearance, something in you stays back and keeps looking. Have you ever wondered why? Why you catch details other people miss? Why certain words stay with you? Why a small shift in tone, a contradiction in a story, or a strange look across a room registers so deeply in your spirit? Listen carefully. This is not passivity. This is protection. You were not made to move blindly through life. You were not sent into this world without a way to detect deception. The shield of hidden observation was built into you for a reason, because darkness does not always attack with force. Sometimes it studies you first. Sometimes it flatters you first. Sometimes it tests your perception before it tests your strength. That is why observation matters. The chosen are often quieter at first, not because they have nothing to say, but because their spirit is reading the room. You notice patterns. You remember what was said. You remember what changed. You remember the feeling behind the words. And later, what looked small becomes the very clue that exposed the truth. Not everyone will understand this. Some people thought you were distant. Some thought you were slow to open up. Some thought you were too reserved, too careful, too difficult to read. But what they misunderstood as hesitation was actually discernment in motion. You were gathering, watching how people move, watching how they speak under pressure, watching whether their words match their spirit, watching whether their kindness stays consistent when there is nothing to gain. This is why so many chosen ones have spent years feeling like outsiders in social spaces. Because while the world bonds quickly, you observe deeply. While others are impressed by surface, you wait for pattern. While others trust a moment, you trust what repeats. And pattern tells the truth. Remember this: a single sentence can be polished. A single interaction can be performed. A single act of kindness can be staged. But patterns expose what performance hides. That is why your life has been shaped through seasons of silence, restraint, and watching. You thought those years made you late. They made you accurate. You thought your quiet nature made you weaker in the room. It made you harder to deceive. You thought your need to observe before attaching was a flaw. It was a shield guarding your soul from people, places, and opportunities that carried hidden agendas. Only the chosen recognize the power of this. Because when your destiny carries weight, your perception must carry weight too. You cannot afford to be easily impressed. You cannot afford to be easily fooled. You cannot afford to call every smile safe and every open hand sincere. Your observation is part of your survival, part of your favor, part of your preparation. The enemy hates a chosen one who pays attention. Because once you see the pattern, the illusion breaks. Once you notice the inconsistency, the mask slips. Once you stop reacting and start observing, deception loses power over you. And when you finally understand that this quiet awareness has been protecting you all along, another shield begins to come into view, one so undeniable that it can only be described as mysterious intervention from the unseen. Eighth, the shield of mysterious protection. This is where coincidence ends. This is where you stop calling everything random. This is where you begin to see the pattern that has followed you through danger, delay, interruption, and narrow escapes. Have you ever looked back on your life and realized how many times something almost happened? You almost went there. You almost said yes. You almost got on that road. You almost entered that relationship. You almost stepped into that decision. And then something shifted, a delay, a warning, a strange feeling, a closed door, a sudden change you did not ask for. At the time, it frustrated you. But later you saw what was really happening. You were being covered. Listen carefully. There are moments in your life that cannot be explained by luck. The timing was too exact. The interruption was too precise. The escape was too narrow. The redirection was too perfect. That was not chance. That was mysterious protection. An invisible shield moving around you while you were still trying to understand the battle. Not everyone will understand this, because some people only believe in what they can measure. They only trust what they can explain. They only honor protection after disaster becomes visible. But the chosen know something deeper. Sometimes you are protected before the danger ever introduces itself. Sometimes the shield moves before your mind even knows what to pray. Sometimes heaven blocks what your eyes still want. That is why certain frustrations in your life were holy. That is why certain delays were sacred. That is why certain disappointments were actually interceptions. You thought the enemy was winning because things kept getting disrupted? No, the disruption was proof that darkness did not have full access to you. Have you noticed how the closer you moved toward purpose, the stranger the interference became? Not just resistance, precision, plans shifting at the last second, unexplained unease before certain decisions, people leaving right before a trap would have formed, sudden fatigue when you were about to enter the wrong space, unexpected detours that later made complete sense. This is what happens when your life carries unfinished assignment. You are not preserved because life is easy. You are preserved because your purpose is still speaking. There is still more in you, more to build, more to break, more to expose, more to heal, more to become. And because of that, the shield moves. The enemy wants access, but favor keeps intervening. Darkness wants timing, but heaven keeps interrupting. Destruction wants agreement, but something in your path keeps saying no. Remember this: you have survived things you did not even know were aimed at you. That should wake you up. That should sober you. That should make you stop calling yourself ordinary. Because ordinary lives do not carry this kind of covering. Ordinary paths do not provoke this kind of warfare. Ordinary assignments do not require this level of invisible interception. Only the chosen recognize the holy pattern after enough escapes, enough redirections, enough impossible preservations. And once you see it, your fear begins to break. Because now you know. You are not wandering through life unguarded. You are moving through warfare with protection already in motion. That is why you are still here. That is why what should have taken you out did not finish the job. And that realization leads to the final shield, the deepest one, the one that explains why your very presence has always stirred reactions you could never fully explain. Ninth, the shield of spiritual marking. This is the deepest mystery of them all, because this shield is not just around you, it is on you. Have you ever wondered why certain people react to you before they even know you? Why envy appears without cause? Why manipulation rises quickly, then collapses just as quickly? Why hidden motives seem to reveal themselves around your life faster than expected? Listen carefully. You carry a mark. Not a visible mark, not something the world can measure, but something real in the spirit, a marking of protection, a marking of assignment, a marking that silently announces this soul is not unguarded. That is why your life has never moved like ordinary lives move. This mark does not remove warfare. It exposes it. It does not cancel opposition. It makes opposition reveal itself. It does not mean darkness leaves you alone. It means darkness cannot stay hidden for long when it comes near you. Do you see it now? People who tried to deceive you often expose themselves too soon. Those who smiled with hidden agendas could not maintain the mask. Plans formed against you began to unravel before they fully reached you. Truth kept surfacing, again and again, season after season. You thought it was strange. It was spiritual. Only the chosen recognize this pattern. Your very presence disturbs what is false. Your anointing agitates hidden darkness. Your destiny confronts counterfeit things without even trying. That is why some people cannot stay comfortable around you. That is why some attacks become sloppy. That is why some betrayals reveal themselves before they can finish their work. Something on your life keeps forcing the hidden into the light. Remember this. The enemy does not only fear your future. The enemy fears what is already resting on you now. That is why warfare followed you. That is why favor followed you too. You were marked in the middle of the battle, marked in the middle of rejection, marked in the middle of confusion, marked even when you did not yet understand yourself. And now the truth stands in front of you. You were never random. You were never uncovered. You were never moving through this age defenseless. Chosen one, if these shields have been speaking to your spirit, then hear this final truth. You did not enter this generation exposed. You entered it covered. Yes, the age is louder now. Yes, deception is smarter now. Yes, spiritual warfare is more subtle now. But your protection is not weakening. It is awakening. The more you recognize what has been guarding you, the sharper your discernment becomes, the stronger your spirit becomes, the clearer your path becomes. And once you see these shields for what they are, unseen battles lose their power to intimidate you. Because now you know, you are not merely enduring this world's warfare, you are moving through it with divine covering on your life. So if this word found you, comment 9 shields below. Let the ones with eyes to see testify. Subscribe. Stay connected. Keep walking. There is more revelation ahead, and not everyone is meant to hear it, but you are. Never forget this. What was sent to break you revealed what guards you, and what guards you was placed there by God before the battle ever began.